I'll give you a little close-up. You can see what you should have at this point. Now, that's what it should look like. Now step 6 is basically a mirror image of everything you did in step 5. Wherever you doubled up on a hole, you're going to double up on that same but opposite hole in this step. Wherever you skipped a hole in the last step, you'll skip that same hole on the opposite side on this step. Now if you remember earlier, I mentioned that this hole right here was a blind hole because the leg is right underneath it and they can't drill all the way through. So what we have to do on this hole is just bend our cane and just put it in there, and I'll put a peg in there. I'll give a little close-up on that. So in this case, you just take the cane, bend it, insert it in the hole, and we'll put a peg in there. And that's going to have to be left like that, you know, throughout the whole weaving process. So now we'll get started on weaving the diagonals for step 6. Now, although I mentioned that this is a mirror image of the first diagonals, one difference we're going to have is where you see these diagonals where they went on top, the second diagonals are going to go on the bottom. So it's going to be just the opposite. And I'll weave a few strands here and I'll give you a close-up on how it should be done. Okay, I've got a couple strands woven through on step 6. Focus here a little closer for you. This here is what I just wove, these two. And you'll notice first diagonal we came through here. This diagonal is underneath the front to back strands. The step 6 diagonal is over the top of the front to back strands. Also, if we go to the side to side strands, the first step is over the top of the side to side, the second diagonal is underneath. So it's just the opposite that we did previously. And there again, I'm going to continue weaving this. I will fill in here in the front. I should also mention that during these, during step 5 and 6, when you're doing the angle weaving, you can try to catch some of your little tails. You'll notice underneath here the pieces that you've left sticking through and you've cut off. When you come around, you're going to have a loop. And you can take these tails and you can just push them into that loop. Hold them up tight and pull your loop up. You can use your fingers to just kind of tighten everything up. Give a good tug on your cane piece to lock those in place. Use your peg to hold it. It's a lot easier to take care of those tails as you're weaving now. If you don't, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take and try to tuck them all in later when you're done with your weaving. It's kind of slow and tedious, and this just, it's a little easier and it just kind of helps speed the process up a bit. Okay, we have finished step 6. All the angle strands have been woven. I'll get a close-up here for you. This is the look you should have. Once this is done, we can go back and we can try to tighten some of these strands up. Some of these two, you can try to pull these together a little closer. In a few areas they're a little further apart than others. Also, these little strings, fuzzy things that are on the cane, they can be all cleaned up with a razor blade. The next step is going to be to put the binder cane around the perimeter of the chair. We'll have to pull these pegs out, and we'll put a binder along the edge. Binder cane is usually a couple sizes bigger than a regular cane. We'll do that next. Once we have completed step 6, the pegs can be removed at this point. So we can clean those pegs out of there, and on step 7 we will start to install the binder cane around the edges. I like to start my binder cane in the rear right hole, corner of the chair. You've probably found during your weaving that some of these holes get pretty tight and it gets pretty hard to get the cane through. And you can use your ice pick, kind of push it down through there, and you can kind of move it around a little bit like this and kind of squish that cane a little bit. It helps make more room to get your cane up through. You're going to be doing that a lot when you're installing the binder cane. Once you decide what hole you want to start with, you push our binder cane in through that hole. You want to leave about 4 inches underneath the chair. Kind of bend that. What we're going to do is we're going to start making loops that come up through each one of these holes with a regular cane. And that's going to attach the binder cane along this perimeter. So I put the binder cane down through. I left about 4 inches coming through underneath the chair. And we're going to make sure we aren't twisted. You want to go around the binder cane and back down through that same hole. Once you get that through there and you pull it down, you'll have a little loop here. You just want to push that, hold that down tight. Pull the free end down. Just kind of snug it up. Do that on every single hole all the way around the chair. Now that's what it should look like. It's pretty simple. You just keep that procedure up and work your way all around the chair until you get back to where you started. And then your last hole will be the very same hole you started with, and you'll just hide where the cane starts and ends with a loop, just like we made here. This is the final and last weaving stage, and it's probably the most tedious and most time-consuming part of the whole job. Okay, I have woven around the back and around that left corner a little bit, just to give you an idea of how things should look at this point. So we're just going to keep on working our way around. At this point, I have woven up to the blind hole that I've mentioned several times throughout this video. It's that hole right there in the front corner that is right above this front leg, and it just ends. It doesn't go down through, so I can't pull anything through there. So what I have to do in this case is I'm going to cut the cane, bend it, and I'm just going to tuck it in there similar to what I did when I first started putting the binder cane in. Then I will just take a loop of cane, I'll cut the ends, and we'll just tuck each end in there to hide that. We'll have to make sure we get some glue in there to hold everything in place. Well, here we have the completed chair. All I've got left to do is I got to go through with my razor blade and trim some little fuzzies off. Trim off some of the tails underneath the chair. And I will just go around the perimeter with a little bead of Elmer's white glue. When that dries, I'll turn it over and I will put some Elmer's glue on the bottom